So, hello, everybody. Hello, Leah. It is great to be doing another heart to heart with you. And today we are doing a topic by request, which is exciting. We got some good feedback from what you guys wanted to hear about through some suggested topics, and social life was the big one. So I'm gonna start, if that's okay with you, Leah, because something occurred to me before we started our recording. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. And yes, go ahead.
Okay. I thought, you know, this is so interesting that I was thinking, how are we going to talk about all the complicated things that happen with your social life, how important it is to preserve parts of it. And it's such a complicated thing to talk about. And then I thought, as a psychiatrist, especially, what do people complain about most? What are they unfulfilled with most, unhappy with? And um, often it's their social life and the fulfillment that it does not give them, some part of it, their intimate personal relationship or their friendships or their working relationships, their professional ones. So social life is a human thing that is tough to make, full and perfect and beautiful. And I think that when we get very sick, in especially ones of us that have had full social lives, and have good memories to look back on. And I know that a lot of us feel that way when we're in our better moods. And but instead of comparing ourselves to that person and taking that social life and trying to create it, the bigness of it, the organization of it, whatever we liked about it, um, remember that you're a human being and it's normal to be not perfectly fulfilled with your social life. So to put it into some context that normalizes it, which it really is. And actually, we have a lot, maybe in if more hours you spend in bed or at forced rest, it's a lot of time to self meditate and think about these things. And so I think that instead of thinking about it as being so tragic, which is so easy to do, and I've done it myself too many times, and it's okay, we I'll do it more. But I think I'm going to try to remember that everybody is looking for a better, fuller, more, fulfilling social life. So we shouldn't accept ourselves and then think it's so complicated, but rather just look at it like, okay, it's a social life, and these are the parts that I'd like to work on. These are the parts that don't fulfill me that I would like to fulfill me. Um, and so that a little bit of perspective, I guess, is what I'm saying. So, Leah,
That's a beautiful introduction, uh, because it makes social life human in the sense that every single human being struggles with social life. So that's that's really nice to remember that. And you just made me remember that because I struggle with social life. Because, yes, like you said, there's reminiscence of the past, the person I used to be, what I could do, what I can't or can't do anymore. And there's also um, adaptation from, family and friends, and that desire that you want them to understand that you can't always show up because you can't predict how you're going to feel. And some people do understand that, and some people don't, because, you know, like I've mentioned before in many of my videos, SPS is to some extent an invisible disease. Because look at us. Yeah, we're in bed with 75 pillows around us, but, facial description, we look fine. And
absolutely.
I know that I'm struggling with accepting the fact that I don't really, my social life has changed. But I also know that people around me are struggling with that change and are not adapting, and that's okay. And it's not my
Mhm.
job, if they don't want to adapt, to force it upon them. So that's also very important. It's something that I realize. It's like, okay, I have to accept, how I can deal with situations now in social life. But I also have to, accept that not everyone is going to accept my new reality, and that's okay as well. So, you know, I have a lot of requirements. Um, I can go to a house where kids are sick because I'm on immunosuppressants. I always have to ask, are you feeling okay? Do you have a cold if someone's coming to my house? If we're going to a restaurant and, there's, it always has to have air circulating and things like that. I mean, I come with a lot of, and some people get it, but some people don't. And we go back to acceptance. You have to accept that you don't have power. You only have power about how you feel about your social life.
Mm.
And also, depending on the ups and downs, but I'm currently under a lot of treatments, but I'm hitting a stable point. And I do have a social life, to a certain extent. I mean, nothing compared to before, but I'm not in bed all the time. No, I'm not. So it's also recognizing that you are able to do things. You can still have a different social life. Um, do you know what I
I
mean?
would love to, yes, when you just said that, I I have gotten over the years more management of my pain and rigidity and so, but in some ways I am much more in the bed. But my at one home, my bed is a desk. I mean, quite literally, you can, you can take the worker, the girl out of the workplace, but it is a desk, and I owe it wherever I am, and I'm in two bed spots, depending on where I am. I make it a desk because that's what I know. That's how I am. That's my personality. So I think that even if you end up in the bed, and I want to say this, and maybe, I'll just throw it back to you and ask you at this point, how many hours are you in the bed? But Leia, right now I'm in the bed like 20 hours a day. And I would say that's an average day, but that's 4 hours outside of the bed. I make myself be upright for an hour and drawing on my girlhood ballet. I try to be, if I'm doing dishes, I'm on tiptoes. If I'm brushing teeth, I'm on tiptoes. I try to squeeze in exercise anywhere I can. And I do more stretching in the bed than I think that, most people probably do outside of the bed, pre-workout. So I think even if you end up more hours in the bed, because that's going to be the reality for some people, with this disease and with neurological diseases and with lots of disabling diseases, if that is your fate, a social life can still happen with even 4 hours out of the bed. If you sort of regiment it, and I dedicate one, say, to a drive-through run with my mom to Starbucks, or it's social, it's in the car, it's not taxing. I don't have to, ambulate far. There's certain times where that's my only social life, but if I do it 3 times a week, that's a rockin' week, because I know I'm doing whatever. If I can't get out of bed, I do exercise in bed. And so I'm going to throw it to you that, how many hours are you in bed these days?
So it's a difficult question to answer, uh, because I don't have that stability yet to tell you how many hours I'm in bed. I go through cycles, but I also know that I've learned to listen to my body. So I still, you know, uh, if a couple of friends ask me to go out for dinner, I'll say yes. But if on the day of that dinner I'm not okay, I'll say no last minute. And, some people get it and don't get offended by it. They know that there's a 33% chance that I might not show up. Uh, but they're okay with that, And this is something I've learned because before I would force myself and I'd be like, okay, but I promised them I would go out and stuff. Um, recently, for example, I went to the mountains with some friends and they kind of accommodated the Airbnb to my needs. So they asked about stairs, they asked about the bedrooms, they asked about accessibility to the bathrooms, they asked if the garden was even, and you know, and all these questions were answered. So I was like, okay, I'll go. And I went, and it was really nice to be in nature, and I was okay. So you know, it's about okay, there's something else I really want to say. It's about people cannot assume for you what you can't or can't do. And I've learned how to tell people that because a lot of people have kind of made decisions for me. And I've advocated in the last 2, 3 months, and I keep reminding people I will tell you what I can't or can't do on the day. And I will be assertive. And I will tell you, I can't do this today, or I can do this today. So that's something I've learned as well. So your social life doesn't disappear, it just takes a different shape. And you were talking about bed, but we talk a lot. That's a social life. I mean, with the internet and technology today, like my husband is abroad. I communicate with him via phone as well. We watch movies together while we're on the phone. Uh, that's a social life. I mean, what's the definition of
It is.
social life? It's a wide term. So I think it's very important for people to, think about these things.
I
Do you
love what
have,
you just said. I love what you said because you just made an example and a very recent example. Because we all know from your channel that you struggle and we get to be part of your journey. So I'm sure everybody knows it wasn't easy for you to make that, commitment and have fun with your friends, but take that leap of faith, so to speak. But you did, and you come back with a good message is that it was worth it, is what the message I'm getting. And and that's we need to know that. So when something's worth it, plan, look at your calendar, or if you don't have a calendar, think about what treatments you're getting and what it's going to be like probably, and take your best guess and do like Leia did and be adventurous and but safe and adventurous. These are not mutually exclusive things, and you can do it if you keep your head about you and but just choose your social events like that are more taxing, that are more say go away type holidays. And but if you do it and you're giving me hope that you had a nice time and that it's a good time, that it's a good story, you're not coming back with, hey guys, don't ever, go on the weekend if you don't have to, if it's not for treatment for travel. Because that's a very important lesson. And I think that my loved ones would be thrilled to be hearing me say it, admit it, that it's good to get out. But you do have to feel comfortable. And you said another really important thing that we should probably end on, which is just that if you can't, even to the last minute, you have to be able to have the courage, the agency, and the self-esteem to say, I can't. I'm sorry. It's last minute, but I cannot. And that's that.